Heaven on Earthers, thank you for co-creating this transmission with me on Divine Within. We speak from the place that recognizes the self as source, the knowing that you are not separate from the power that forms your world. I'm your host and Divine Embodiment Coach, Lucian St. James. This is going to be a quick message. I do have a pickup on Matthew 21 that will be released next week, or maybe later this week. There was going to be a part 2 to that in terms of breaking that scripture down. So go ahead and check that previous video out if you have not already. But you're manifesting in every moment. No one needs to teach you to manifest. I've said it a million times. I say it in every video. I'll be saying it till I die. Nobody needs to teach you to manifest. But what we are talking about is directed attention. And this is an incredibly easy, quote unquote, practical. I mean, this whole thing is delusional, right? I mean, you talk about it. Here's the thing, is like, I don't really mask too much. So I just like talk about the stuff to anybody that happens to be, not anybody, but people that are like closer to me. And they don't always have the same ideas as me. So some of them just plainly think I'm a loon, and that's fine. You have to be willing to be a fucking Looney Tune. You stop leaving fulfillment. Talking about the practical, actual insight, everything it's got to be practical. Okay, you stop leaving fulfillment, because the problem is, I didn't even intend to use this. This was like for something else. But the problem is that we keep looking at the rendering at the 3D circumstance, and I really love the heaven on earther. Like, I'm a heaven on earther. Are you a heaven on earther? Meaning, it's all already here. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to get. If we talk about heaven on earth, we're not talking about a place with no problems. We're talking about an assignment of self, of understanding, of existence, where fulfillment is already complete. If we think about what we were taught about heaven, right? You're going to die and you're going to go up to this cloud and you're going to meet all your friends and your dogs that died and everything's going to be perfect. Well, I guess you can't meet, all the dogs that died, but that it's all perfect now. You don't need to add anything. There's nothing you need to do. There's nothing you need to effort. We talk about heaven. We talk about this feeling of goodness that is just inherent within and of itself. That place where struggle doesn't exist. Well, struggle exists because because we're conditioned to believe that it's normal. That's why it exists. And I'm not saying that you won't have different challenges that emerge, but it's our engagement with those challenges that truly determines if they're a problem or not. So, heaven on earthers, hoes, some of the Magdalene current as well. So, hoes, heaven on earthers. But the problem is that we're looking at this, this 3D circumstance, and we're using that to determine what our identity is. Identity being your I am, which you assign to yourself. I am that I am. That's God. That is out of all of the parallel realities that are possible, that's your selection system. That's you tuning that dial. And it's not something you say once, it's a matter of where you rest. Because you can say, I am abundant, but if your identity, you can say that, but if your identity within yourself, within your heart, within your understanding, within what you believe, what you accept is, I always struggle with money, then it doesn't, the affirmation can help you access that identity, but that doesn't mean simply because you said it that it's something that you agree with I am plus certainties in your attention that will eventually rendering. But we're not worried about the rendering. So the problem is that we use the rendering to define our identity, and that's what leads us to believe that we're not fulfilled, because we're living in the realm of separation. Everything out there, it's not that it's not real in the sense that it's just not complete. Like, when I say it's not real, it's just not complete. It's just not the full, we're seeing again different versions of the infinite potentialities that are possible within the quantum field. So when you look out there and you see a certain amount of things, that's just a certain amount of things, that's a certain script, that's a certain film roll, that's a certain unfolding. All of that has specific events per your attention and your assignment of yourself that are unfolding. But that has nothing to do with the whole. That's really like, if you tune your radio dial to a specific station, that doesn't mean that no other stations exist. But if you've been listening to the same station for your entire life, it very well is easy to understand as to why you would think like, no, 98.7 struggle, that's the only station that exists. So you decide to stop leaving fulfillment, meaning if you decide that You are love, you have love, you emanate love, you radiate love, you receive love, you give love. Love is your truth. If you decide that, then you stop giving attention, meaning repetitive focus. If this is your agreement and this is what you've decided is certain for yourself, that I am love, I receive love, I give love. Of course, my SP loves me. Of course, I'm in a compassionate, erotic, fruitful relationship. Of course, that's the case for me. That's where you keep your attention. Then you don't leave that. It doesn't matter if your SP doesn't text back. It doesn't matter if there's a third party involved. It doesn't matter if you and your partner just got into a fight. Like, you don't leave that, because that's your truth, because it's all generated from within, from your assignment, and from within and from without. I mean, it's all you. You're seeing yourself reflected, and you're living yourself as source, through source, by source, as an individual expression of source. So it's all one thing. It's all one thing that you're seeing from different vantage points. The outside is just you seeing yourself externalized in a way that you could say is, I like to talk about the external world as like a meal that's already cooked. Like, by the time that you see it, the 3D rendering a certain event, that event has already occurred. That script is already playing, which means you don't have to continue agreeing with it if you don't like it, because in effect, it's already dead. It doesn't have to have, you see, this is separate. It doesn't have to have any effect on what you think about yourself, so long as you don't agree with the rendering. So it's not about like necessarily ignoring the rendering or ignoring 3D circumstance. You can observe something without agreeing with it being your truth. You can see the violence on the news and not decide that violence is the truth of your reality. You don't have to agree with that. So you decide to stop leaving fulfillment, meaning that if I don't get text back from my SP, I'm not leaving love. I'm not going to let that appearance of a 3D circumstance lead me to believe and agree with that I'm lacking something. You don't leave it. You realize whatever it is, it's already whole, it's already here, and that there's nothing you need to do. Now, of course, in the world, I'm not suggesting you go sit on a mountain and do absolutely nothing. I'm just saying that whatever it is that you do, if it comes from a place of fulfillment, then you'll feel that fulfillment expressed. If it comes from a place of lack, you'll feel that lack expressed. It doesn't really matter. Like, what you do doesn't really matter, depending on how you think about that. Because is there an unfolding of events that, you meet a certain person, you call a certain number, and things kind of come together along, and you're like, if I hadn't done that certain amount of things, I wouldn't be where I am. Sure, but I don't really think that it is a certain amount of things. I think that that's just the unfolding of the frequency of who you decided you are, what you chose to agree with, where you put your attention, and that's just eventually what rendered. And when you're driven by fulfillment, those things are naturally going to come to you anyway. You're going to feel enthusiastic. You're going to feel you're going to live with vigor and vitality and want to participate in your life. And those are the types of states that are conducive to living as everything that you desire to be, but knowing that you're already that. There's nothing you need to do. Heaven on earth is here now. You stop leaving. You stop letting the news, you stop letting the circumstance grab your focus, again, reverse engineering that in a repetitive way. And no, it's not heaven on earth. No, it's hell on earth. Or no, I didn't get the promotion, which means I'll never be what I thought I was going to be. And, I was supposed to, everybody has this, I was supposed to be farther along by now. Again, you're using the circumstance to identify yourself. None of that has to matter. It's all here now. It is all what you say it is. You're already whole. It's all here now. And speaking of processes, I finally finished it, an anti-method method, meaning you don't need a method, but if you would like a process written out that outlines why you don't need a process, it's all a matter of being, I've developed the Heaven on Earth Source Codex, and that is available to you for free. That is the source codex that I'm using that is crafting the content of every single transmission that I've ever done. It crafts the content of all of my coaching sessions. I just opened my schedule up as well for the spring. If you would like a more detailed, personalized lens on the barriers essentially that you're inserting in your own way, because here's the thing, you already have it. It's already here. But there are certain belief systems that we might have, or certain paradigms that we might be entertaining that within ourselves we might not be aware of. So if you would like more assistance that way, my calendar is opened up for 45-minute and 90-minute sessions. It's an application basis if you would like a longer engagement, but All of that's there for you. The podcast is there for you. Dispatches from the Edge of Obvious is a more philosophical bend. The Liberation Chronicle, which is the written word of this platform, that's there for you. But what you can do is stop leaving fulfillment, stop leaving abundance, stop leaving love, stop leaving it, stop believing that it's out there, stop thinking that there's something that I need to do or some type of external effort that I need to take in order to bring it or attract it to me. It's all emanating from whence? That which is within. It's all coming out of you. So there's nothing like everything that you think that you need to do in order to get what it is that you want to have is the exact understanding that is keeping you away from it. And you don't leave because it's not to do with the rendering. If you're concerned about where it is, you're concerned about the rendering. And source is not concerned with the rendering. The rendering is downstream. The rendering is just an effect. The rendering is just a bonus. It will come together. And I'm not just talking about standard detachment, like you have to detach. I'm not even saying you have to do anything. I'm not even saying you have to detach. I'm just saying, like, when you stop chasing after it, when you stop wondering where it is, when you stop looking for the next step and the next process and the next video and the next tip and trick and hack and the next coach, when you stop looking for it, and I'm not saying give it up and act like it doesn't matter. I'm saying it's you, the substance, the essence, everything that you seek to experience, seek to be, seek to live, it's already here. Most of us just want money because we want to feel safe. Safety is here now because we want certainty, because we want to feel like we have importance and influence in our world. That's here now. That has nothing to do. Money is a representation of what that feeling externalizes as. It has nothing to do with the dollars on the screen. I'm not saying there are not also not real things that are happening, but are you going to allow those quote unquote real things, those circumstances, to determine what kind of experience that you're having? That's what most of us are doing. And that's why we're living separated, because we're looking at the separation as though it's the truth when you are absolutely all of it, living a specific version through all the versions that you could choose. And it's a matter of you standing firm in that choosing and deciding that what I choose is what I choose. And if it doesn't look like what I choose, then I'm not going to assign any relevance to that. It's something that I can observe. It's not something I have to personally, internally participate in or assign to myself as absolute truth. So, signing off of tonight's transmission of Divine Within. My name is Lucian. I thank you for co-creating this moment here with me. And remember to be good to yourselves and others, because everybody's just a version of you anyway.